Elder Dolapo and his chiefs have finally broken their silence, and it's not just a defense, it's a full-blown attack. They've admitted to the secret Ghana trip, but are throwing the blame right back at the Golden Crown elders. They are claiming the elders sat back and watched while the palace was being ruined. Stop whatever you are doing and listen close, because the land of the Golden Crown is shaking. You are watching Crown Gist, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you are basically leaving the best part of the meal for others. Hit that button now and join the family for the most intense updates you will find anywhere. A quick prayer for you. May every person planning to replace your peace with confusion be exposed today. May your throne and your home be shielded from every wahala that comes from close friends. Amen. We respect our traditions deeply, so we use special titles like the Land of the Golden Crown and the Golden King to keep things sacred. Keep watching and it will all make perfect sense. The atmosphere in the Land of the Golden Crown has moved from heavy to completely unbearable. My Crown Gist friends and families, imagine a situation where the people who are supposed to be the gatekeepers are the ones being accused of leaving the gates wide open for the enemy. Elder Dolapo and his chiefs have come out with a fire in their eyes that nobody expected. They are not standing in the corner whispering, they are standing in the middle of the palace square, defending their names with everything they've got. They looked the Golden Crown elders straight in the face and told them that their trip to Ghana was not for rituals or anything evil. No, they said it was a rescue mission. They insisted that the journey was to save the Golden King because the elders had failed him. Can you imagine the guts? They basically told the elders that while they were busy sitting on their high chairs, Elder Dolapo and his team were the ones actually trying to move certain harmful wives out of the palace. The heat in the room was so intense it felt like the air was drying up. Elder Dolapo didn't stop there. He insulted the living daylight out of those elders. He said the Golden Crown elders have been too slow, acting like they don't know the risk their own son is facing. He reminded everyone how these same elders sat there looking like they were in a trance while people cooked up lies and pushed Queen Naomi out of the palace. Elder Dolapo's voice was shaking with emotion as he reminded them that Queen Naomi was the only one truly protecting the Golden King. He accused the elders of conniving with the wrong people to drive her away, only to allow rivalry and jealousy to take root in the palace like a bad weed. My Crown Gist friends and families, this defense is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you see men who claim they love their king so much they had to travel to another country to find their solution. On the other hand, the elders are feeling insulted and bypassed. Elder Dolapo said that when elders fail to block a crack in the wall, they shouldn't be surprised when the rain floods the house. The tension is so high you could feel it in your bones, a kind of heaviness that you couldn't even cut with a sharp knife. Every group in the palace now has its own version of the truth, and nobody knows who to believe anymore. Suspicion is flying like birds in the sky, and even the loyalists are starting to doubt each other. Is this the end of the unity in the Land of the Golden Crown, or is the real truth about to come out? Elder Dolapo is standing his ground, saying they went to Ghana to harvest those women out of the king's lives since the elders were too weak to do it themselves. The palace walls are vibrating with the weight of these accusations, and the silence from the elders' side is even more terrifying than the shouting.
The fire that Elder Dolapo started in that meeting is still burning, and nobody has enough water to quench it. Imagine the scene. The Golden Crown elders were sitting in their majesty, expecting Elder Dolapo and his chiefs to come and beg for forgiveness. They expected them to kneel and explain why they traveled to Ghana without permission. But Elder Dolapo did not come to beg. He came to fight. He made it clear that their trip had nothing to do with any evil tree or planting harmful things. He said their mission was about finding a solution to a problem that had already grown deep roots inside the palace, while the elders were busy sleeping. The tension in the air was so heavy you could almost feel it pressing against your skin. Elder Dolapo reminded everyone that long before this crisis reached this level, warning had been given. There had been discussions, whispers, and moments when the elders sat together and spoke about the danger of allowing too much rivalry and jealousy around the Golden King. But according to Elder Dolapo, those conversations were just mouthwork, no action followed. He pointed a finger directly at the Golden Crown elders and said they were the ones who had the power to stop the situation from getting out of hand, but they chose to look the other way. He argued that when the Golden King began bringing more women into the palace, it was the responsibility of the elders to guide him firmly. They were supposed to advise him with clarity and insist on boundaries. Instead, they allowed things to flow freely like a river without a bank. The chiefs felt that the elders had the moral authority to say no when it was necessary, but they lacked the lever to do it. Elder Dolapo believes that if the elders had been firm from the beginning, there would have been no need for secret trips to Ghana or any desperate measures. My Crown Gist friends and families, can you imagine the courage it takes to tell the most powerful men in the land that they are the reason for the chaos? Elder Dolapo insisted that the atmosphere in the palace had become toxic because of these rivalries. He described a place where loyalties were divided, where servants were taking sides, and where the Golden King was at the center of emotional battles that were no longer private. This atmosphere, he claimed, was weakening the throne and affecting the king's judgment. He didn't just stop at pointing fingers. He went further to say that their decision to travel to Ghana was a search for wisdom that internal palace politics could not provide. They were looking for a way to remove what they considered harmful influences around the Golden King. And we all know he was referring to the wives that have been causing wahala. Elder Dolapo said history would have judged them if they had just stood by and watched the palace fracture from within. The emotions in the room were raw. You could see the sweat on the foreheads of the elders as they listened to these bitter truths. The palace is now split down the middle. One side believes Elder Dolapo is a hero who risks everything to find a solution, while the other side sees him as a rebel who bypassed the sacred authority of the elders. The suspicion is so deep that even when people greet each other, they are looking at the other person's hands to see if they are holding a hidden knife. Trust has become a luxury that no one in the land of the Golden Crown can afford right now. Elder Dolapo's rise was like a hammer hitting an anvil, ringing through the halls of the palace and making everyone realize that the peace they thought they had was just a dream.
The heat inside the palace has moved from a simmer to a full-blown explosion. The way Elder Dolapo is speaking, you would think he has already packed his bags because he is saying things that people only whisper in the middle of the night. He looked at the Golden Crown elders and told them that their ultimatum to the Golden King was nothing but empty words. You remember when the elders gave an order for those women to be sent away? Elder Dolapo laughed at that. He said the situation had already become too complicated with emotions, family pressure, and political attachments. He told them plainly, if you elders could not enforce your own orders, how can you blame us for seeking a way out? This statement alone made the room go cold. Elder Dolapo and his chiefs believed they were simply stepping into the gap that the elders left wide open. They saw themselves as the true protectors of the throne, while the elders were just watching the palace walls crumble. The atmosphere in the land of the Golden Crown at that time was so messy. Allegations were flying everywhere, and the Golden King was being pulled in 1,000 different directions by these women. The chiefs argued that their trip to Ghana was not a sign of rebellion, but a sign of deep love. They felt that if they didn't get external counsel and spiritual perspective, the internal politics of the palace would have swallowed the Golden King whole. They were not looking to harm him, they were looking for a way to harvest the thorns out of his garden. But as they spoke, the anger in the room grew like a wildfire. The elders were offended. To them, the secret nature of the palace had been violated because this journey was hidden from them. But Elder Dolapo had an answer for that too. He said openness was impossible in a palace where everyone is a spy. He claimed secrecy was the only way to avoid interference from the very people they were trying to remove. My crown kiss friend and families, the conflict has now shifted. It is no longer just about the king's bed or the Ghana trip. It has become a battle of pride, authority, and who truly holds the key to the king's safety. The elders feel their power has been bypassed, while Elder Dolapo and his group feel the elders failed to act when it mattered most. The language being used in the palace right now is so sharp and heavy, it's like every word is a stone being thrown.
African Nigerian friends and families, the final showdown has arrived, and the walls of the palace are practically vibrating with the weight of these accusations. The anger reached a whole new level when Elder Dolapo and his chiefs heard that some people were trying to link their Ghana journey to the mysterious Edi-Eko country. To them, this was a slap in the face, a calculated attempt to turn them into the villains of the story just to cover up the elders' own mistakes. They argued that instead of facing the real problem, which is the internal division in the palace, some people were just looking for a scapegoat to hang. The shouting match in the palace became so heated that even the birds on the roof stopped singing. Every word was sharp like a spear. Trust has become so thin that you can't even see it anymore. The elders feel betrayed because the Ghana trip was kept secret, but the chiefs fired back that you can't tell a secret to a house full of people who are working for the enemy. They believe the instability in the land of the Golden Crown was allowed to grow unchecked for too long, and now that they try to fix it, they are the ones being questioned. The drama is so intense that nobody knows who will come out of this with their head held high. It's no longer just about the Golden King, it's about who truly has the right to lead. The elders are holding on to their authority, while Elder Dolapo and his chiefs are holding on to their pride. Each side believes they are the only ones who truly love the Golden King, while the other side is just playing politics. The confusion, the accusations, and the bitter words have turned the palace into a battlefield where the only prize is a crown that is already under threat. My crown gist friends and families, as we watch this drama unfold, we have to stay alert. The land of the Golden Crown is at a crossroads, and any small mistake now could change everything forever. Will the elders forgive Elder Dolapo, or will this be the beginning of a permanent split in the royal cabinet? Only time will tell, but for now, the suspense is enough to keep everyone awake at night. Wait, before you go, let me remind you of something very important. All the gist and information I have shared with you today are based on alleged reports and unverified rumors making the rounds on social media. My crown gist friends and families, please do not take these as solid facts yet. We are only bringing you the updates as people are talking about them online. We must wait for the official palace word before we know the real truth of what happened between the elders and the chiefs.